Welcome back to the All Out NRL Fantasy Podcast, made first TLT of 2025, the official first TLT of 2025, the second edition of Vegas round Mick, and I cannot be more excited for this weekend, mate. It's going to be an absolute doozy. 2 games in the NRL Super League game and also a Jillaroos games. Can't wait.
Yeah, mate. Brilliant day of the year. Absolutely missed footy. That's all I know.
If the listeners didn't take work today off, I'd be slightly concerned.
Yeah. You're not in it to win it if you didn't take today off.
Yeah, 100%.
The great thing about this TLT, I know some people go, it sort of doesn't have the same feeling because it's only the Vegas teams, but I mean, next week's just as good.
It's just as good. It's like you get 2 bites of the cherry. You know how like batsmen only have one.
Good way to put it.
You only have one time and you're out and you're back in the sheds.
Yeah.
You're like a bowler. You get a second chance here. You get a second spell and you're back.
Pretty good analogy.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get straight into it though, because this podcast, and if you haven't liked, subscribed, done all that stuff already, followed the Instagram, I'm not sure what you're doing because there's so much content about to come out.
Like, I know a lot of people who aren't that interested in fantasy, but once they see the season comes, they make a team. Make sure you join our league.
Yeah, make sure you join the league.
Easily number 1 at the moment.
Easily number 1. And if you haven't followed the Instagram page, you know all Out memes are back this year and you know they're top tiered level.
There will be a prize for winning as well, and it probably will be. It's hard to beat 2 All Out club hats.
It is hard to beat 2 All Out
we probably
club
will
hats
this year.
Yeah.
Might be cash.
Look, this podcast, we were thinking about what we're going to do. Are we going to flood the content? Are we just going to go through TLT? Listeners, you're in for a treat, okay? You're in for a treat. We're not only going through TLT and analysing that, we're going to give you our top 5 best players or talking points for each team in this year's Vegas team round. And then we're going to say, basically, we're going to do all the hard work for you. We're basically going to say, this is who you buy, this is who you don't buy, and this is why.
And if it doesn't pay off, you can blame us.
You can blame us. Go
Hit our
ahead.
DMs.
Yeah, go
We
ahead.
get hate in
Blame
the
us.
DMs. We appreciate it.
Because we also like
Because
keeping
you're
receipts.
taking our opinion on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We
So then
like the banter.
And then if we say something right, we expect a DM saying, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah, 100%,
maybe
mate.
just
Yes.
transfer us.
Let's get it started with the first game in Vegas, the Raiders versus the Warriors. Lots of talking points for me out of the Raiders. We talked about these guys in preseason, the Corey Horsburghs, the Zach Hoskings, and they've prevailed. Ricky Stewart's done something good for us finally and actually selected some people that we want in our fantasy teams. And I'm seeing down the list, Weeks, Tamale, Tomoko, Chris, Savage, Strange, Fogarty for the back line, but it's where the forward pack gets really interesting. Corey Horsburgh starting at 8.
Yeah. I was sort of expecting he might be lock, but they've gone with Smithies there. That's basically what we wanted to hear. Horsburgh starting, not on the bench.
That's legit what we wanted to hear.
Yeah. So just quickly, 51 average there at prop. I think he's a genuine option. Hopefully Ricky provides some strong minutes, which with Ricky, who knows?
Look, I'm going through the stats right now with Corey when he's played prop and he hasn't got over 60 minutes ever. So, look, there is a slight concern there. But when he does play 50 minutes, just 50 minutes, he averages 53 from 3 games. So the sample size's not there greatly, but there's obviously stats to back up maybe him buying him for 550K.
Yeah, and another person we should talk about is Zach Hosking. He gets the start. There was a bit of concern he may not be healthy for round 1.
Yeah.
And I think everyone knows, especially from last year, like when he got the start, he was putting up great numbers. There's a 93 in there, I think he scored. His concern is, can he string together 3 games healthy?
Yeah. And I think we'll touch on this guy a bit later, but IPAP now being on the bench, a lot of punters and fantasy coaches will then look towards someone similar price in Zach Hosking. A bit of stats, look at him when he's played over 70 minutes. Averages 59.6 points to Zach Hosking on the edge for over 70 minutes.
I mean, like last year in his 80-minute fixtures, he averaged 81.
And look, you have to sort of look at the bench here for the Raiders. Am I seeing threats to take minutes off Zach Hosking? I don't think so. I think he plays 80 minutes. Hudson Young's going to play 80 minutes. Morgan Smithies, yes, he played some 80-minute fixtures last year, but I don't think he's going to play 80. Owen Krabby Patty, who we talked about slightly. Actually, I don't think we talked about him at all. He's kind of...
Nah, he hasn't gotten a mention.
No, Krabby Patty.
Like, if you get him, he might be a slow burn. He might be one of those bench guys who just gets replaced in a couple of weeks. So,
But Krabby Patty's a hooker, right?
yeah, he's not one who we've focused on, and he's one of those guys who's 230K. You can pick him up in a few weeks.
Yep, agreed. Looking at that bench for the Raiders, I'm not seeing many people taking minutes off Hosking. So Papali'i will replace a prop. Simi Sasagi will replace a prop, I'd say.
Yeah, some people might be interested in, sorry for the pronunciation, Savelio Tomali.
Yep.
I think Albert Hopewadi is going to replace him when he's back. So I'd probably steer clear of him as well.
Are you giving our friend here Hosking 80 minutes?
I think he might. I'm just trying to think about that bench. Mariota, sort of a middle. Like, what do you think?
I think he does get 80 minutes. Am I picking him up? Probably.
Like Papali, obviously middle. Paddy probably be like a replace Starling, who doesn't like to play 80 minutes. Sasagi,
I think he plays 80.
Yeah, like Hudson Young plays 80 though.
Like Horsburgh, Starling, Tarpany, and Smithies are all going to have to come off.
I think Simi Sasagi might replace him because we know Hudson Young's playing 80.
Yep. Okay.
That's a concern.
Okay, so that might be a talking point of interest there. Other than that, the Raiders pretty stock standard for me, and not really much fantasy opinion other than Jamal Fogarty. Maybe if you want to go rogue with your halves, he has been under an injury cloud. However, for the Waz, mate, looking down this list, there's obviously a few talking points here. The main one being Aaron Clark getting the starting 13 role for the Waz. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, we liked Clarkey in the preseason. We just wanted to see him get the 13. We know when we know he's a good PPM guy.
We know he's a PPM guy.
And he's not going to play 80. Like, that's not happening.
Yep.
Dylan Walker's probably going to replace him. I think he could be a good option.
I think he's all right option, 482K. And I know we said stay clear of these guys. And when he's played lock, he averages 47.8. I'm looking at his scores here. 58, 59 minutes, 50 minutes, 55 minutes. So he is averaging around that 50-minute score. Yeah. Is he going to get that PPM beast? Probably. I think he's going to be a good pickup. I wouldn't expect him to get 40s and 50s every week, but I think he could be a slow burn.
If you got Aaron Clark at 480, would you rather go to someone like Tommy Gilbert? It's just a slightly more expensive, but at least you know
what you're going to get.
Yeah, last year he's starting at lock. He'll probably get you 50 around that. So
another talking point is Mitchell Barnett and James Fisher-Harris. What minutes they're going to get a prop? Matt, I look at this Wise team. I'm saying to myself, stay clear of everyone. To be honest.
Yeah, but I'm actually the opposite, where I think they're going to do a lot of defending this year. I'm not that confident in the Wise this year. Sorry to all the fans.
Yeah, it is fair.
They could prove me wrong.
And remember, this week when the Vegas guys play, obviously, if you have Vegas players, they then lock out for the rest of round one, which means you cannot change these guys. So once Corey Horsburgh starts playing at 10:30 on Sunday morning, they are locked in. You cannot change them for the rest of round one. So if they score badly, you got a 20-point Corey Horsburgh sitting in your team for the next week, which you're fucking shitty about. You know what I mean? So there is an element of risk here going these Vegas players not knowing what the team lists are going to look like next week. So I would stay clear, in my personal opinion, of any Wise players this week.
If you have your doubts, especially about Vegas players, then it's a good one just to go, you know what? If they score well, maybe I get them in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
You don't want to have the guy, you're just looking at their shit score.
Yeah, it's so true.
I could just waited for another guy who I was more confident in.
In saying that, out of this game here, I would be more inclined to pick up Zach Hosking than Corey Horsburgh at the moment, purely because the stats back him up. Scoring at 80 minutes, his scores are better than what Corey is getting at 50 minutes at prop. That's all I'm thinking there.
Yeah. It's just very hard to tell if he's getting 80 because we didn't see him in the trials.
Yep. So true.
It's very hard to determine.
A lot of headaches there for coaches, which I think we've made a bit clearer for any listeners there.
Yeah, just one more guy, Dimitrik on the bench. There was questions he might get the start on the edge. Kurt Capel's got it. Niakure. Jackson Ford's also on the bench. I think he might be a slow burn.
Yeah.
Cheapy may not get that many minutes, so I probably wouldn't get him.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Zach Hosking here, 62.6 average at 80 minutes, and I'm
just quickly with the Raiders, guys. Relatively controversy-free off-season for the NRL. And it's just every single time something had to pop up, they get in scraps in Vegas. Sin City.
Is there a disconnect
Smithy's
there?
had a black eye in the press conference. I don't know. Like I saw a Virtude Advocate post. It was like NRL's not even going to jump in and give him any punishments because they know Ricky's going to give him absolute spray.
Yeah. They will get a spray from Ricky.
And that's enough.
Panthers Sharks made the later game on Sunday. If you don't have Nathan Cleary this year, you're legit doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, get him in. 880s cash cow territory.
Legit, like he was $1 million last year. People decided to go Hines over Cleary last year, which in hindsight, at the start of the season, very good decision. Well done.
Who makes more money, Nathan Cleary or Royce Hunt? I think Cleary.
I think Cleary as well. Basement
There you
cheapie
go.
versus Cleary. I think
maybe.
Cleary makes more money.
Maybe when he gets to $1 million, sell high.
Yeah. Nathan Cleary. If you don't have him, listeners, get him in your team right now. And I don't want to hear the argument of, if I get Munster, he frees up cash. No, you're doing yourself a disservice.
You're not winning if you have a shit captain every week.
Yep.
And there's no risk with Cleary captain. If Cleary has a bad game, he gets 50.
The other selection that will be definitely in my team this year, and I have never started with him until now, is Isaiah Yeo. He will be in my team to start the year 100%. I reckon he could be a Dally M prospect this year.
That's not a bad shout. Yeah, look, he's playing 80. You know he's going to get at least 60 to 70.
Yeah.
It's either him or Hart for those top echelon guys in the mids. I think I'm starting with him as well.
And look, getting into the really nitty gritty of analytics and field dimensions here, that Vegas field is smaller, which means more condensed players on the field, which means more tackles for Isaiah Yeo.
Stay with me now.
So stay with me now. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, okay.
So those two, Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo, they will definitely be in my two-team. The two
Feels
players
weird
in my
hearing
team.
Yo. We're used to the yow.
The yow.
And we
The
get
yow.
multiple comments about it.
Yeah. The biggest news coming from the Panthers team list from preseason, and it is sort of why you can't do your team in the preseason and why we struggle to give advice is because Isaiah Papali'i is on the bench, and we obviously were tipped that he was going to be that starting second row.
I mean, our first podcast back, we were going, IPAP, he's at a great club. We knew his form at the Eels. It's like averaging 60 at the Eels. Freebies.
But he's on the bench.
Ivan Cleary,
Ivan Cleary's definitely been
he's
listening
seen
to the
something
podcast.
we're not. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, because he's the coach and
Yeah.
he's had him the whole preseason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a strange one. I think maybe it's because he's sort of got that like dual where he can play in the middle, he can play on the edge.
Yep.
I don't know.
Scott Sorensen and Lee Martin probably, they probably deserve their spot from previous years. IPAP, will he come on in the middle? I'd say so. So it's going to be interesting to see that dynamic. Does that mean Isaiah Yeo actually gets a rest? Because IPAP's there. So there's probably a bit of a talking point there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, who knows?
The other news is that Jack Cole pipped out, who was it?
Blaze, but Blaze
Blaze
got a
Delaney.
shoulder injury, so
I wouldn't go near Jack Cole. I know he's a lot cheaper than Blaze, but it just reeks of the vomit that he put out last year on the field that he spewed up after that big hit. It just
Quite
reeks.
literally.
Yeah, it just reeks.
don't get Cole.
A lot of questions as well about why we don't like Dylan Edwards at fullback. We don't hate Dylan Edwards. It's just, do we want him in our fantasy team?
I actually was going to raise that point where it's like, I think we mentioned those four guys, the fullbacks like the Teddies, Ponga, Turbo. We didn't really mention Dylan Edwards.
It's Edwards, yeah.
He could be a great pod.
He could be.
Does he go better without Luai? Like, does that mean more rock? Sounds like he already got enough rock.
I just think that's another reason why you got to get Nathan Cleary in your team this year. No Luai. How many times are going to go? If they got Jack Cole on the left and Nathan Cleary on the right, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
Nathan Cleary, every
Blaze
single time.
Taluggi's not kicking the ball at all.
No.
His job is just to run it.
Every single time they're going to go Cleary. So there's another reason. Sharkies, now, on the other hand of your halves is Nico Hines. Now, I haven't seen many teams where they haven't gone Cleary and they've gone Hines. If you're feeling ballsy, could be a very good pod player to start the year. I mean, if Hines outscores Cleary in that first game, you're absolutely cheering if you're a Hines buyer.
And like 825 for Nico is maybe a bit underpriced.
It is, yeah.
If we're going back to maybe a couple of years ago, his form there. Just looking at his stats with Trindle, I think that was a concern last year where we said, I think Trindle likes the ball in his hands, takes it away from Nico a bit.
Yep.
Sorry, I'll just get that up.
Yeah, while you get that up, the forward rotation for the Sharks is going to be very interesting also. Adam Fanua-Blake, Oregon Kaufusi, Cam McInnes, all will have to be rotated out. You got Dan Atkinson on the bench and 3 forwards. So AFB minutes, I'm looking at 55, 60 again, similar role at the Wars for AFB this year.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about AFB.
Neither have I.
Like that, if you look at their bench, like they've got
I haven't thought about him at all for this whole preseason. I've just been staying clear of him.
Nelly, middle, Hazleton, middle, Talakai, a bit of a duel. There's no like concern with AFB.
No.
It's just I'm using that money
Elsewhere.
Azar Yao.
Or Haas.
Haas, yeah.
Yeah, good points there, mates. I can't see really much else about Sharks unless you got the stats there for...
Sorry. With Trindle, Nico averages historically 65.
Okay.
So there's not much of a like dramatic decrease. Last year, 57 with Trindle.
Okay.
So it's just about, would you rather use a lot of cash there for a middle forward who you know is going to just push out good scores? Like we still haven't decided for our personal team.
Oh, hell no.
About all that team.
Oh, hell no. No way. After the team list, mate, can you tell me anyone that you're locking in straight away other than Cleary for your team come round one? Because I know they do lock out, as we said. Is Hosking in your team? Is Corey Horsburgh in your team? You got to sort of think over this every now and then.
Yeah, like there's lots to think about.
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
Cleary's
in
one.
the team. Cleary's in the team. Nico, I'm really thinking about Nico.
Damn. Cleary and Hines.
Yeah. It's just such a little dual threat in your halves, but no decisions have been made. Apart from that, I know last year was a lot of players in Vegas where you had in your team. This year, not many.
Not many. I can think 3 maybe for me. There's going to be no Wires. There's going to be no Sharks for me. It'll be Cleary, Yo,
I'll think about Horsburgh
and maybe
Hosking.
Hosking and Horsburgh at best, and that's the only 3.
Just unsure on Hosking, and if he's playing 80, great option. Will he stay in the park? Touch wood. It's just a bit too much uncertainty. I'd rather use that cash for maybe like a Teague Wilton. Is he someone we throw in there?
Potting.
I know we had a DM. Someone said, "Boys, massive pod. Hopefully no one gets him." It was Teague Wilton. So I've just told everyone that. I think Teague Wilton's upside, like if you go off last year, how much is he going to improve? I think he's a late 40s, early 50s guy, pretty consistent.
Yep.
It's not a bad option.
No, it's not.
And then you got Nakora there as well, who's going to be pretty good.
Very quickly though, top 5 players for each team out of that TLT we got down for the Raiders is Horsburgh, Hosking, Joe Tarpany, who's always a very reliable option, Jamal Fogarty if you're looking for a pod, and as a meme, Owen Krabby Patty.
Hopefully Paddy gets some strong minutes. Hopefully he's not like a Rushton from previous years. Convinced was going to get good minutes, but he didn't.
Hope you're listening, Dor.
Yeah, for the Wars, Mitch Barnett.
Yep.
Going to be solid.
He's going to be solid. He's going to churn out 50s. Am I going to get him? Probably not.
Fisher Harris, is he going to score better than he did at Penrith, where he probably wasn't like a keeper? He was a good scorer, but not someone we really looked at. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
RTS on the wing.
Yep.
Historically great there.
Wing or
Obviously.
centre?
No, he's on the wing. Should be.
Oh, yeah, he's on the wing. Yeah,
on the wing. I just think that if we're going off our logic that the Wires aren't going to be great, no, probably won't go there.
No, they're
not
not
price. Aaron Clark, decent option. Then Metcalf.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Metcalf. I just don't see the upside. Like, if we think the Wires are going to be defending the whole time and can't attack, then Metcalf's not going to get any points.
Yeah. I'd love for the Wires just to absolutely go huge this year and just prove us wrong.
I just don't see it.
Yeah, neither.
No, I just don't see it.
Really don't see it.
Shout out to our Wires listeners. I know there's a lot of you, but I just don't see it, friends. I just don't see
They're
it.
in a rebuild.
They're in a rebuild.
Post AFB and SJ.
Yeah.
Dynasty.
I just don't see it. Panthers speak for themselves, mate. Nathan Cleary is a yo. Dylan Edwards, IPAP, obviously now off the bench. You got to consider him maybe in the future when he maybe gets a start. And Jack Cole would stay clear of him is the top 5 talking points there. For the Sharkies, Nico Hines, good pod option if you're not going Cleary. I think he's in less than 10% of teams at the moment, so he's always a good pod option. AFB, we talked about. Nakora, also a good pod option, plays 80 minutes.
Yeah, Cam McInnes at lock.
And your Wilton.
And yeah, Cam McInnes was annoying last year because he didn't get the minutes we expected as captain. So Yeah, mate, they're the talking points. Just back to Metcalf. Last year, he had an injured affected game where he only played 9 minutes. He's hovering around 40 points.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a bit of value. He's priced at 33.
Could be a bit of value.
And we've got to think that he's not playing with SJ. So he's probably the main half there over CHT.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the worst option.
No, it's not.
He's in 30% of teams.
Yeah. 30%. Metcalf. Damn.
People like you.
Damn.
People really like you.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure on that because that's 30% teams.
Wow. I did not realize that.
Supercoach is a great option.
Yeah.
For any listeners.
A few listener questions actually that have come through since we've posted that on the Instagram. A lot of questions about Hosking. I would be more leaning towards buying him than not. Hosking or Bateman, says Brody. If you had to choose one, and I know the TLT aren't out yet, but I'd go Bateman because I feel like he's just going to have a secure 80 minutes.
Bateman looked very good in the trial.
Yep. Your buys and avoids for each team from Lockie. We've just gone over that in the TLT. Owen Krabby Patty, a lot of people are saying here. I don't think he's a buy just yet. For me, I reckon he gets 10, 20 minutes max.
Well, what does Starling come off at?
I'd
60?
say he comes out at 55, 60, and then he goes on for 15.
Yeah. So he's looking at about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oscar says, what's to do with IPAPs? Mate, he's not a buy now. I would say now that he's on the bench.
Delusional from Ivan Cleary.
Delusional.
Is it?
But who do you take out?
I don't use the word washed because he was pretty good at the Tigers.
Who do you take out, though?
Scotty.
Scotty?
Scotty has the exact same role as IPAP off the bench. And he's done it well in the past.
That is fair. Thoughts on Luke Metcalf? We touched on him. I wouldn't be buying him for this round, but if you want a sneaky pod, who knows? Maybe.
I'm tempted.
You tempted?
Just because he's the main guy now, and his scores not as the main guy was around 40.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're expecting at least 5 points, price at 33, bit of cash gen, just an awkward price range.
Aaron Clark with Walker on the bench, or Aaron Clark question mark with Walker on the bench. 50 minutes, 50 points. Can he do it? I don't know. I'd love to prove me wrong, but I'm not feeling it from Aaron.
We're trying to predict things. Though.
Yeah.
If
based on the stats, if he gets 55 minutes, he's going to get you 47 points. There you go. Are you happy with 47 points when he's priced at 36? Yes.
Yeah. And they're going to be doing a lot of defending in a shorter field.
There's your answer. Yes, he's a buy.
What was your logic? Shorter field.
Stats. Yeah. Stats. Look, I'm going through most things that more on the Hosking, et cetera. But yeah, mate, other than that, it's going to be a great weekend. We're going to be back for TLT. We're going to wrap it all up on the weekend as well.
Yeah.
Memes are going to be flowing. There's going to be so much content. It's going to be great.
I know a lot of people will be wanting their answers about other players not involved in the Vegas rounds. There's more podcasts to come.
Oh, for sure.
There's DMs to be answered.
There's a lot of DMs to be answered.
In a bit of a backlog at the moment.
So stay patient. Stay patient, all out fans. DMs are being absolutely slammed at the moment. So, but that's a good thing. We want you guys sending heaps of DMs. We'll see you back here. When will we see you back here? Maybe
another one out Thursday.
Maybe another one out Thursday, considering content, buy, hold, sell. We'll see.
Call us just quickly. Who's your pod of the year?
Pod of the year? Wow.
Because I'm going to say Preston. Him in that trial at the Dolphin Stadium, KO Stadium, was brilliant. If he plays 80 minutes,
pod of the year,
I think he could be wonderful. I think I want to say yours, Cordless. We've said it previously. Fafita.
Dave Fafita, yeah. I think he's a great option. It's just like...
He's in 1.9% of teams because people don't want to not have a player in the round one.
Yeah.
But then everyone has Harry Grant, Munster.
And Munster for round two. So can you have one... I'm really leaning towards it, just having him on the emergencies, and then he's back for round two. I really am.
There's another Titans guy by the name of AJ, the Fish Brimson.
Yeah, and Jaden Campbell. There's another pod that I kind of like.
Because I had a bit of an argument with someone in the comment section about, I think Kieran Foran gets a start. He said Foran at 14, which I thought was interesting.
Delusional.
Not really sure what role he plays there.
Well, Foran's out now, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brimson.
Fish of the week is back as well.
482.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye. We'll see you next podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. NRL is not too far away. Make sure to follow the Instagram And we'll see you back here hopefully Thursday for a buy, hold, sell. If not, they will be back on the Instagram. They always do well, those posts. So hope you enjoy your footy if we don't see you. And we'll see you back here next week potentially.
Good luck.
Good luck, of course.